Happy Saturday! Welcome back, or if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Zoe, and this is my channel, Ms. Manga, where I talk a lot about manga. And today it's part 3, or the final part of our 12 first volumes of Christmas reviews on here. And if you missed parts 1 and 2, go check those out, and they'll be under the first volume playlists on my channel. So yeah, as our last and final review video on first volumes, that is gonna all culminate in Monday's video. So if you haven't, hit the subscribe button and make sure notifications are on so that you won't miss Monday, the last Monday of the year, the Christmas Day video, which will be a tier list ranking of all the first volumes I've read this year. And yeah, so I just thought that kind of became something on my channel here where I talk a lot about first volumes that I've read. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you where they all landed and which ones are my favorite and my least favorite and all those in between and stuff. So I hope you will tune in to watch that this Monday. And without further ado, let's get into the last first volume review of the year. I really want to hold the mug this way because it's got the cute picture on it, but I can't because I need to show the manga with my right hand. So you're gonna just have to see the cute little raccoon buddy on the back. But anyway, so instead of doing honorable mentions first, I'm gonna just do my top 3 reads first because I couldn't choose just one honorable mention. They got like, you'll see, that'll be at the end. So yeah, first up for my top 3 favorite manga of this week, I do have another top 3. I gave them all 5 stars. I loved them all. And this one is the one I'm least surprised at. So that is Neighborhood Story. I just knew I was gonna love this one because it's by Ayazawa, and I absolutely love the other manga that I've read by her. She's amazing, and I'm so very happy that they finally published another work of hers. So her most famous and well-known is Nana, and yeah, I highly recommend it, except for the fact that it will rip your heart out and it has no actual conclusive ending, so be prepared. Otherwise, I totally recommend it. And her other work that I've read is Paradise Kiss, which I feel like this series is more similar to that one in the sense that it does have a big focus on fashion. Our main character is going to fashion school. Her dream is to open up a shop in which she sells her own designs, but this series definitely already stands on its own. So far, this one has a kind of rom-com vibe to it, but I've been fooled before. Ayazawa always has funny moments, charming, sweet, heartwarming moments, and then she rips your heart out. So just, I don't know, I'm prepared. I'm not sure if this is just going to be a lighter, sweeter story, or if there will be some twist to it, but I am along for the ride no matter what it brings. Because the thing that I just love so much about this mangaka is her characters. She just brings these simple, ordinary people to life. And they're so nuanced and 3-dimensional, and they feel real. So yeah, this is a story about 2 childhood friends who live next door to each other in the same apartment complex, and they've known each other for forever. They're very close. They're insisting that they're just friends and everything, but our protagonist Mikako here is already showing signs of being a bit put off and jealous by her childhood friend getting a lot more attention recently from the girls in school, and even finding himself a girlfriend. It's very much leaning into the childhood friends to lovers trope right now, and it's very sweet and wholesome, and all the side characters are enjoyable. It just is like literally peering into the lives of this little neighborhood and this little friend unit. And yeah, I think if you like character-driven stories, romance, and of course Ayazawa's trademark fashion design. I love her emphasis on fashion. Even in Nana, where it really wasn't about fashion, her characters still dress so uniquely, and they have a very specific and interesting style. Sometimes it's a bit over the top, but it's always enjoyable and fun to look at the outfits they're wearing. And in my opinion, it's a really nice combination of gorgeous character designs and wonderfully complex and nuanced characters to enjoy. And yeah, I'm gonna stop gushing about Neighborhood Story because it's just so great. You should just pick it up and give it a read. All right, so to stay in the same vein of cute and sweet, wholesome first volumes, I have my second favorite read, which was Past the Monster Meet Milady. I honestly, like, this was a cover buy. The cover just caught my eye, and the summary really didn't like knock my socks off or anything. I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. It seems kind of like it'll have a big emphasis on food and eating with a fantasy element, maybe like Delicious in Dungeon, where it has a fantasy adventure aspect and a real big emphasis on food. But though it is definitely giving us an emphasis on food and monster food, like in Delicious in Dungeon, it's pairing that with romance, and just the sweetest romance that I could have ever asked for. Like, I absolutely knew the moment I saw the Blood Mad Duke, he was going to be a manga man favorite. Like, this man, the intensity, the coldness, and kind of aloofness mixed with the instant chemistry that they have when they meet, and then him suddenly like being like one of the only people to be kind to our protagonist. Like, I love him. I love him, and I have no shame about that. Yeah. So this story follows our protagonist here, Malfiera, I think is how you're gonna say it. It's an interesting name. And she happens to have an exotic taste for monster meat. And apparently in this world, it's pretty taboo. It's like kind of seen as disgusting and revolting by people, and they don't understand why she eats it. And so they all kind of just gossip about her. And because of that, she's gained this reputation around her. But on the other hand, her stepmother has issued her an ultimatum that if she does not get engaged and find a suitable marriage partner, as you will, that she will kick her out of the house and make her go stay in a cloister. But yeah, so she's forced to go to this like high society noble gathering to try and find someone there that doesn't think negatively of her, but she just feels like a total outcast. No one is talking to her, and then suddenly a monster attacks. In the midst of this attack is when she is saved by the Blood Mad Duke, and they hit it off instantly. They're both just like quirky little weirdos, and I love that. Like, they're awkward and not really like used to anything romantic. It's just so precious. Like, their interactions are so sweet and pure and positive. Like, he is so kind to her, like I said, and he's really the only one who's ever known her, you know, taste for monster meat and still be very open and accepting with her. And so she's like really taken with him. He seems really taken with her. It's just a match made in heaven. They're so cute. Like, yeah, that's the gist of it. It's super sweet. And I think if you're in the mood for a little quirky fantasy romance, like something that's just fluffy and pure, then you should definitely check this one out. And lastly, my final favorite first volume read that I read this December, we're taking a hard left from cute and fluffy and wholesome to pretty bleak and dark and depressing. And that is Soloist in a Cage. I absolutely was just in awe of how much I love this one. Like, I didn't expect to like it that much. I mostly picked it up because I got the second volume for more than half off at my manga store because it was used and it like had a bent corner and stuff. It had some cosmetic damage to it. Like, I flipped through the first volume and I was struck by how gorgeous the artwork is. I was like, ooh, you know, I didn't realize how like pretty this art is. I think I'll take a chance on it. So then I finally ordered the first volume and it came this month, and I thought, oh, this is a good snowy kind of read, perfect for the winter. And I definitely think it's like a perfect January read. I wouldn't really recommend it as like a heartwarming December type story, but yeah, it is following our main protagonist, Chloe, who was born in Prison City. And Prison City is a prison the size of a city. Once you are put into Prison City, you are stuck there for life. Like, presumably, even though she was born in Prison City and didn't do anything to be arrested, she can't leave either. It's real messed up and dystopian, you know? But anyway, she lives in an apartment with her baby brother, and her parents have seemingly disappeared, but they are basically orphans, left to fend for themselves. And Chloe has never even left the apartment because the outside world is very dangerous in Prison City. And luckily, her neighbor has been giving her food because he realizes that there's, you know, children living there, can hear them through the wall, and that has been kind of a life-saving measure. But these prisoners, these same neighbors, have found an opportunity to escape, and our protagonist, Chloe, is really brave and ends up deciding to escape with them. She follows them. But sadly, in her attempt to escape, she is separated from her baby brother, and he ends up still inside Prison City while she is on the outside. But she vows to come back for her baby brother and to rescue him because he means the world to her. So yeah, that is how our story begins. She has been trained and hardened by the prisoners that she escaped with, and now she has returned to Prison City and is searching for her brother. And yeah, it's very bleak and dark and depressing and definitely bloody and gory. So if you're sensitive to any of that, then you might not want to pick it up. But I thought it was just really, really interesting. It's like a very dark look at human nature, and I really loved the art, like I said. Yeah, I can't recommend you picking it up enough. It's apparently finished in 3 volumes, so the 3rd volume is coming out in January, and that'll be the final volume. So I'm really curious if it'll be one of those short series that I think it's perfect the length it is, or I'll like wish that there was more, because I was really surprised that it was only 3 volumes, but I like a good short series, so I'm hoping that it will be a favorite series of mine as well once it's complete. But regardless, it was definitely a favorite first volume. So we're moving on to the honorable mentions now. So technically, if I had to pick one honorable mention, like just one that I'm the most excited to keep reading, and the one that was like barely edged out of being 5 stars in my opinion, then that would go to Lonely Castle in the Mirror. So this is the one I'm going to talk about the most, and I just really liked the kind of whimsy and fantasy element to this story, and I just really like a good character-driven fantasy, and it revolves around this girl, Kokoro, who was bullied to such an extent that she is afraid to even leave her house. But one day her mirror starts glowing, and it ends up being a portal that is open to another world, to this magical castle. And once there, her and 6 other kids are told that they all have the chance to find a key to a room in the house. And once that room is unlocked, it will grant them any wish. So these kids all seem to be similar to Kokoro in some way. They all like visit the castle even though it's during school hours. They all similarly are not going to school regularly and have their own reasons for that. And they also don't really seem that eager to find the key and make the wish. They're just playing video games and kind of bonding. And I really liked seeing that. It was really like, there was some heartwarming moments between Kokoro and the girls when she finally opens up to them about the bullying she experienced. And I liked her interactions with most of them. There was the one annoying guy, but it also felt pretty genuine. I think we all have kind of like known or been aware of that type of guy that kind of just like globs on to any girl who's nice to him. So yeah, it just feels like a good introduction to these 7 characters and this little fantastical journey that they're on. And there's also an anime movie that I really need to check out because I'm super interested in it now that I read this first volume. Yeah, it didn't quite make my top 3, but I'm definitely excited for volume 2 and I had a good time reading this one. Okay, next up are my honorable mentions that I really want to give a shout out because they have my favorite art. Like, I do love Ayazawa's art style, but for art to just like be so enjoyable and detailed to look at, I definitely had to give it to these 2. So first up, we have A Witch's Printing Office. This one was gifted to me by my friend, so thanks a lot. And I absolutely think the art is the thing I love the most in this volume. It is creating such a magical, whimsical fantasy world, and I just love looking at the character designs, the world, just everything about it. It's just so well done, and so I had to give it a shout out for the art. The story was good too. I'm, not knocking the story. And it is about this girl, Mika, who has been transported to an RPG style fantasy world. She's looking for a specific spell to transport her back home. But in the meantime, she is setting up a kind of Comic-Con for magic, a magic market. And all different types of magic users come and sell their spell books and magic spells, and you just trade information with each other. And it's very cute and wholesome. And she also set up a printing press that is printing different spells that people want to distribute to other people and stuff. So it's very cute and wholesome, and it has some funny moments. But yeah, overall, I just think the art stood out the most, and that's why I wanted to give it a shout out. And the other first volume that I think had the most appealing, beautiful art was, and forgive me while I pronounce this, Eniale and Dewiela. Yeah, so it's about an angel and a demon who just so happen to be inexplicably friends. They have big fights and clashes with each other over silly things like borrowing each other's eyeliner. But in the end of the day, they seem to really care about each other, and they really enjoy hanging out, and they both have a love for human fashion. So this kind of goes with Ayazawa as well. If you like fashion and beautiful art, this definitely feels more slice of life comedy, but it had some heartwarming moments. It's a fun one, and the art is just beautiful. The character designs, I love both the sweet angelic Eni, the angel, and I love the like more gothic, sharp, and darker design of the demon, and I love their friendship. It's so cute and so sweet and so funny. And last but not least, my last honorable mention is for the manga that I think is the best read for Christmas. And that goes to Black Knight Parade. This is the most Christmassy Christmas vibes because it has to do with Santa Claus and Christmas. So obviously it stands out in that regard, but it's also full of comedy and kind of a dark edge to it. And that is because our protagonist, a part-timer at a convenience store, one night on Christmas Eve, he ends up stealing. I put it in quotes because it's so stupid. It's like his manager won't let them have the food that's expired that will be thrown out. So he just takes the cake that was supposed to be thrown out. Like, that logic drives me insane. I know a lot of corporations, a lot of restaurants and convenience stores, those type of things do that, and it just pisses me off because if food is food, like, let the employees have the food. Anyway, so he steals this cake that he was supposed to throw out, and he ends up being seen by the Black Santa. So the Red Santa is the one we all know about, jolly old Saint Nick, right? He's apparently the Red Santa, and he gives the presents to the good kids. And the bad Santa, he punishes the naughty ones. Stealing is a crime, he says. He ends up kidnapping our protagonist, bringing him to the North Pole, and setting him up with a new job. It's all very silly. And although it's, you know, kidnapping, and he's kind of holding him against his will because he has no way to leave from the Black Santa factory where he is now being employed. He is given a contract and told, like, you work here now, but you're going to be compensated with money. And yeah, and honestly, like, he was pretty miserable in his life. He was pretty disappointed with where he was in life. And so to me, this isn't like a very mean-spirited thing to do. And we see that through another colleague of his as well that's working here for the Black Santa. But the main mystery element, I think, to this is that the Red Santa is no more. So there is no Red Santa to hand out presents to the good kids. And so I don't know what's gonna happen with that. And it's kind of hinting towards, well, maybe someone will take up the mantle of Red Santa. So I'm curious to see how this progresses and where it goes. And it's just full of funny, zany, quirky characters. It's the mangaka behind Arakawa Under the Bridge, which is really a funny, crazy, kooky series as well. So I expected nothing less than what I got in this one. And yeah, I love the interesting take on Christmas. And so it gets my honorable mention for the most Christmassy Christmas first volume that I read this Christmas season. How many times can I say Christmas? Take a shot of water, just water. Hydrate yourself. So yeah, that'll do it. I know I had a lot of honorable mentions, but I needed to give more of them a shout out, and just a lot of them in the end that I read, especially this last 10 days. There were a lot of great ones. I loved almost every single one that I read throughout the month, but especially these last ones were really solid and fun reads. So yeah, that is the end of the video. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. And of course, if you could be so kind to comment what your favorite first volume read of December was, or what volume looks the most interesting to you out of this group, or what one you've read that you like the most. I would love to hear it, and just know that every comment and every like is super appreciated. It really helps YouTube algorithm, and it really just brings me joy. And don't you want to bring me joy this Christmas season? No pressure, no pressure. But seriously. And yes, I hope to see you back here on Manga Monday for our special Christmas Day video. And until then, have a holly jolly season, everyone. Bye!